Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Community Sync Up meeting for Litmus Chaos. We'll get started in a few minutes. Let's give some time for folks to join in. I think they're all trickling in slowly. We'll just wait for another couple of minutes and then get started. All right, I think we are 2 minutes past. So let's get started. I hope I am audible. I think one of you can just give me a thumbs up.
Yes, Karthik, you're audible.
Thanks, Raj. Let me share my screen.
Sorry, you asking me? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've just started sharing my screen. So once again, welcome everyone to the Community Sync Up for Litmus. Glad to have you all here. The agenda for the meeting today is a discussion on the Litmus release versions upfront. So you might have noticed the release update on Slack on the 15th, the day before yesterday. And we spoke about two releases that's happening at the same time, one on the 1.x series and one on 2.0. So we'll talk about what they are and I just set some context around it. Post that, we'll have some updates from the SIG for deployment, the SIG deployment lead, that is Maria, who's joined us today. We'll talk about what's going on within that SIG, what improvements we are making to the Helm charts, etc. Then we'll have a very quick demonstration of the 2.0 beta portal. So Raj will take us through a quick tour of what 2.0 offers us. These beta releases are happening from the last month or so. So you will get some updates about that. And we'll talk about the standard release updates on the 1.x series, improvements that we made on top of 1.13. We have a patch, 1.13.2. And I'll also give you an update on the progress around the incubation application that we made to CNCF and what the next steps are. So before we proceed, as usual, we'd just like to take a couple of minutes and see if there are any new members on the call today. And feel free to introduce yourselves. I'm posting the link of the HackMD page onto the Zoom chat. So please feel free to add yourself as one of the attendees so that we have a record of who's attended this call. Does someone want to introduce themselves? We have a few new members, I think, on the call this time.
Yes, sure, sir. Hello, everyone. I'm Anjani Sharma. I have joined this company since 1st of March, and I have joined under the Department of HR. And moving forward, I look forward to many opportunities and learning the process. Thank you.
Thank you. There are a lot of folks joining in from the Chaos Native organization who are also part of the Litmus community. Thanks for joining this call today. Welcome to all of you. I think we'll go ahead and start with our agenda items. We will have a few minutes between each of these items. So if you would like to introduce yourselves during that time, please go ahead. I'll move on to the Slack. I hope my screen is visible. I have opened the Slack channel for Litmus. So you might have noticed this message. As usual, we had the release update for 1.13.2 with contributions from a lot of folks. So thanks to all the folks who contributed to Litmus via PRs, reviews, issues, discussions on Slack, via code, etc. So thanks to all your contributions, we had some really interesting enhancements and bug fixes this time. We're also doing a formal release of the 2.0.0 beta. As you all know, we've been building up to Litmus 2.0 over the past few months. And 2.0 is essentially a portal-driven approach to chaos engineering. That is, you will be able to use the Litmus portal to select the chaos targets, define the blast radius, execute one or more experiments in defined order, and visualize the progress of the experiments, and also look at interleaved dashboards. So we'll have that embedded within the portal. This is not a big deviation, or it's not a completely different approach to chaos. It builds upon what we already have in 1.x. So it is backward compatible. The chaos operator, the exporter, and the experiment CRs and chaos engine CR all continue to work the way they do, but it's just that you will be using them as part of chaos workflows instead of running standalone experiments. You will be running them via the portal. So we felt it's good to get some early feedback on these 2.0 enhancements features. So we began with beta releases. Beta 0 was pushed a couple of weeks earlier. We started with beta 0, and now we have beta 1. The updates to the framework is being tracked. Most of these, as you will notice, are portal related updates. Internally, the 2.0 beta portal will invoke the 1.13.2 chaos engine and chaos experiments for now. So this is what we have. And while these beta releases go out, we also thought the documentation around it needs to be set up as well. So there is a framework change in documentation. We are moving to Docusaurus 2. I think we touched upon it in one of our earlier meetings. So we have started rewriting the docs with a focus on portal usage. So all that is available in the Litmus docs-beta posted on Netlify. So you should be able to view this and start your journey on the Litmus 2.0. Having said that, we are continuing with the standard releases of 1.x series. 1.13.2 is the latest. You might notice we didn't push 1.14 and instead did 1.13.2. So we decided that 1.13 will be the last minor release on 1.x. We will have patch releases as per cadence and as per need to continue meeting the demands of the existing users on 1.x. So we will continue to push out more patch releases here with all bug fixes and enhancements on the operator and experiment side, while we continue making progress on 2.0 with enhanced portal. So there are some instructions here. You can take a look at this and accordingly continue with your usage. feel free to ask us your questions. We'll be happy to respond on Slack. So this is a very quick update on the versions that we released, and you will see this continuing over the next couple of months, where you will have more patches on 1.13, and you will also have newer beta releases, beta 2, beta 3. That's going to go on for some time, and we hope to hit GA pretty soon, depending upon what kind of feedback that we get out of the beta testing. So with that, I'll stop sharing my screen and move over to the next item on our agenda, that is SIG deployment updates. So we have Maria here. Would you like to introduce yourself and go ahead with the update?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Maria, and I work as a DevOps engineer at Rike Company. So I have few updates regarding Litmus Elm. I've made some improvements related to Helm best practices. So our charts are more configurable for different cases. So if you have any feedback regarding that, please leave it as issues, or I know, write me in Slack. Also, I've made some improvements regarding release process of Elm charts. I introduced new tests so we can run some compatibility tests for different Kubernetes versions. Also, during my tests of Litmus portal, I found a few bugs, so it was useful in that area too. And my main focus now is to provide some use cases regarding using Litmus portal on infrastructure testing. I think I can, provide some example how you can test your, for example, database service to be more, for example, to be more stable, found few bugs with current infrastructure, and etc. So here we are. That's it. If you have any questions, you can write me on Slack or file a issue on GitHub. So much appreciate your feedback.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria. I think Maria has been at the forefront of improving our deployment story with a lot of improvements to the Helm charts that we are using to deploy the Litmus microservices. I've just put out the link of the repository in the comments. So that's where you will find most of the activities related to SIG deployment going on, help chart improvements, as well as instructions on how you can optimize these charts. So please take a look and test out the Litmus portal beta. And if you find any issues, please let us know. We'll be happy to address them and improve it. So the intent of these beta releases is to catch as many issues as possible before we go ahead and make it GA. Thanks, Maria, for the update. We have the next item on the Litmus 2.0 preview. So I think Raj will take us through the features very briefly, and he'll take us on a tour of what the portal offers and how it is useful for you folks to do chaos. Before that, before jumping into this next agenda item, if anyone wants to introduce themselves or join this meeting late, you can please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Neha from Kids School of Management, Bhubaneswar. I just joined my first job on 1st of March with Chaos Native, and I have been in the position of a marketing manager. So I've just started learning a lot of things from the entire team, and would definitely continue to do so. And it is a very good opportunity for me to have this big team and meeting you all today. Thank you.
Welcome, Neha. Thanks for joining the call today. There are a lot of community outreach and advocacy efforts that we could do, and looking forward to your help on those items.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hello
Aryan.
everyone, my name is Aryan. I joined Chaos Native on the 10th of March as a web development intern, and my job as of now is to implement the version 2 of the Chaos Native website. Currently, we are working on the webinars page, which will be going live probably next month, first week of April. I hope we do good.
Awesome. I think we're looking forward to improvements on the websites. Thanks for starting to contribute there. All right. If we don't have any more introductions, I think we'll go ahead. Raj, would you like to share your screen?
I would like to introduce
Pick
myself.
it up. Sure.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lipika Mishra. I have a prior corporate experience of 4.5 years, and I have pursued MBA in HR and marketing, and now I have joined Chaos Native from 1st March as HR manager. I look forward to learn many things and do good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Raj, I guess you can go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Karthik. Let me share my screen first. Okay. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, everyone, for joining this call. My name is Raj, and I'm a contributor to Litmus project and also a software engineer at Chaos Native. So currently, I'm working on the Litmus portal and the release management processes. So today, I'm going to demonstrate what we released in 2.0 beta 1. So before that, let me show you the Helm improvements. So in this release, you can install Litmus portal, as we can say Litmus only, using Helm. So currently Helm is not published yet, but you can clone the repo, and by using these steps, you can install the Litmus portal. The version is 2.0 beta 1. So thanks, Maria, for the improvement and enhancement. So moving toward, 1 second. Okay. So as Karthik already mentioned the updates, we have introduced a lot of features and a few bug fixes, and some of the updates are minor. But let me go through the minor updates first. So first of all, we have changed the MongoDB deployment to stateful set, and we have installing Kiosk operator as a default external agent. If you connect your external agent with the Litmus portal, it will install Kiosk exporter by default. Let me show you. I have a deployment of all the components in my GKE cluster, and you can see MongoDB currently it is in stateful set, and Kiosk exporter which is installing by default when you connect your cluster. And other updates are like we have refactor authentication server. We have integrated some new teaming screens and some fixes in the UI, and we have removed the welcome model. Some of the inputs in the welcome model. Right now, you can onboard yourself very easily once you install it. And let me show you. Suppose I'm this is my user. It'll take some time to network connectivity. So right now you can see earlier it was having email, your name, and right now it is only asking project and your password. However, you can onboard yourself. So these are the minor updates. For the major update, I'll start with the Litmus CTL. So Litmus CTL we have introduced as a command line tool. It is in the early stage. So we only introduced one feature, which is you can connect your external agent to Litmus CTL. So Litmus CTL code is in this repo. you can take a look. Here's the litmus.ctl code, and you can install the litmus.ctl like now it is supporting 3 platforms, AMD ARM and normal ARM, and you can download it and move it to your directory, and you can directly use it. Let me show you. First of all, let me connect. One second. Yeah. So this is my Litmus portal deployed on GK cluster. So currently I have no agents, only one agent, which is the self agent. When you install your Litmus portal, it will connect itself to the portal. So it is a self cluster, and there is no external agent right now. So once I click here, so it will show you some of the steps you can follow, like open the console and download the litmus.ctl and perform the few steps. Let me show you the steps. This is my Minikube cluster. I'll connect my Minikube cluster to the GK cluster. You can see this is a single node cluster, and litmus.ctl is installed in my system. So it is currently 0.2.0. So the steps is agent register. Once you click, it will ask some of the information, the URL which you will get it from the here, and the password admin is the default password is litmus. So currently I have one project which is litmus demo project. So so this is not, this is a, 1 second. Okay, this is my actual cluster. Okay, so currently I have one project which is litmus demo. I'll connect my Minikube cluster to that project. So I'll select this project. By default, it will install cluster, but we are asking if we can install it in cluster or namespace. We'll install it in cluster mode, and it'll asking a new name, a new agent, description, new agent. So platform is GKE, not GKE, it is thus. Okay, it is asking some default. So here is the summary. It will install as a new agent, my new agent, and in the litmus namespace it will install, and service account will use the litmus service account, and it is in cluster mode. So it will take some time to install. So meanwhile we can see the installation. Watch is not working. So event tracker is up now, subscriber is also up. If you can see here, right now you can see my external agent has been connected. It is in active state, so I can schedule the workflow to this cluster. So this is litmus.ctl. You can take a look on the litmus.ctl. Right now all the agents are in live. You can see all subscriber and event tracker, which is the main component for the external agent, is connected. So this is litmus.ctl, and moving towards the next feature. Next feature is we have GitOps. So we have introduced GitOps as a single source of truth, where we are storing the workflow artifact. So Litmus portal and Git will sync itself. So we have only one single source of truth, that is Git. So let me show you how we can connect Git to the Litmus portal. So it is connected from the settings page. If you go to the settings page, you can see GitOps. And currently I have connected one of my repository with this portal, which is Litmus demo GitOps project. So same, you can click here. Right now it is not having, so you can edit or you can remove it. Okay, let me go through it again. So here you can see this is a Git URL, and this is main, which is my branch. and it will generate. You can connect the authentication. There's two authentication step. One is the access token. The one is the SHS key. For SHS key, you have to copy and paste it in the deploy keys. Where it is. Okay, hopefully it will work. Let's go paste it. Let's update it. Okay, now it is successfully updated. Now we can perform the GitOps step. So GitOps, let's go to the workflow and schedule a workflow. And once I schedule, you can see the workflow here. So currently the directory structure is the project ID. Inside project ID, we're storing the workflows, different workflows. So now you can see there are 4 workflows present in my Git directory. So I'm going to schedule a chaos.
Just pitching in here, I think when Raj is speaking about GitOps, just wanted to throw some light on what the feature actually is doing and why it is intended. So I think Git being the source of truth for all manifests and all deployments, we thought we should keep it that way for chaos as well. So not only can you construct workflows from your portal using Litmus CTL or the browser wizard, but you can also actually create it by hand and basically store it in a Git repository and then keep that as a golden copy. So whenever you make changes there on the Git, you're able to check it on the portal and vice versa. If you want to push changes on your workflow manifest into Git from the portal because you find that more convenient to do, that's possible as well. So this is very similar to the traditional GitOps use case where there are GitOps controllers or deployment managers like Helm or Argo CD, which actually go ahead and make changes on your cluster depending upon changes to your spec on Git. This is similar in the sense that these are not actively run, but they're updated on the portal once you make changes into Git. That's one part of the story. And I think Raj is going to explain the second part of the GitOps integration where there is a microservice called Event Tracker, which will ensure that application changes on the cluster can result in triggering a chaos experiment to validate the sanity of the new changes. Yeah, so I just wanted to update that. Thanks, Raj. You can go ahead.
Thanks, Karthik. Thanks for the explanation. So here I'm going to schedule a workflow. So my external agent is my new agent. I'll select the agent and I'll be continuing. So I'll target one application called Nginx, which is in the default namespace. So this is my Nginx application. I'll schedule a pod delete experiment. Let me go pod delete. So I'll select experiment pod delete. So my label is my Nginx. It's a deployment, and I will reduce the chaos duration 20 seconds and force is false. Okay, it's good. Will not put the reward step. Okay, so here is the workflow. It is having the engine installation, you experiment, and let me schedule it. So I can assign some points. So I'm going to schedule now and finish. Okay, so now it is running. I can also check in my cluster. I think it is. Let me check on my Git repository. Yeah, you can see the workflow has been pushed to the Git repository 31 seconds ago. And you can see all the artifact, my cluster ID, my workflow ID, and the installation step and the engine step. So let's see what is the status of the workflow. Yeah, so it is installing right now. Yes, now you can see it is deploying the application. Yes, okay. So let's not wait for it. Let's go to the next feature, which is the event-driven chaos engineering. So as Karthik told, event-driven chaos engineering is the second part of the TOPS. So what it is like, it will track your application change. Currently, it is tracking only image change. Suppose my application image tag change from V1 to V2. So event tracker will track those changes and it will trigger the chaos based on that particular application based on some fields. Okay, let me show you how we can trigger the chaos using event driven method. So here's my cluster. So I have to annotate my application. I think I already annotated my application. So there are two annotation. First is the workflow ID. So workflow ID, we have to mention to pick the particular workflow from the Git. So right now you can see it is one dot something something. Let me edit it. Annotate. And I will pick the workflow ID from the Git, the latest one. This is my latest workflow ID. I want to trigger this workflow once my image change. I'll annotate. Okay, it is annotated. And the second annotation is GitOps true. So based on these two annotation, it will trigger. So I think I already annotated the GitOps. So let's change the image tag of the Nginx deployment. Sorry. Hopefully my screen is visible. I think.
Yes.
Okay, so let me. Yeah. So hopefully there's a version called 1.19. So I'll be changing this tag from normal without tag to 1.19. Without means it is the latest tag, but I'm changing to a version tag 1.19. And meantime, we can see the logs of the event tracker. Event tracker. So currently no triggering is there. So let me change the image and save it. Okay, we have edited the image. Now you can see my event tracker is tracking those changes and it is informing the server about the change and it will start a workflow ID. The ID is this one, which is in the Git. So it will pick from the Git and try to schedule in the cluster. So if you refresh my page, you can see just now a workflow has been triggered. So it was, I think it is not triggered. Yeah. Let's wait for a few seconds. Let me annotate again. Okay, let's change the image tag again.
Raj, it might take 2 minutes for the event tracker to notify.
Okay, yeah, okay. Our default value is 2 minutes. So, okay, let me show you the future steps. Like once it got triggered, it will schedule the chaos in my cluster. So you can see. So we'll not wait for this. Let's move to the next feature. So next feature is analytics. So we have integrated some of the dashboard useful for chaos monitoring. So these are the inbuilt analytics. So let me tell you, these are not Grafana dashboards. These are built by ourselves. So here you can connect your dashboard. Sorry, you can connect your data source. Currently, we have only we can connect only one data source, that is the Prometheus one. Once you connect with the data source, you can generate your dashboard and you can generate all the panels. So I already connected one of my dashboard data source. Let me connect another one. So I'll select the Prometheus. I have some. Okay. And there's a new dash data source. No. So data source has been created. This is my new data source. I'll create the dashboard. So I'll create the Kubernetes dashboard. New dashboard. Prometheus. New data source. Agent is a new agent. That's all. So if you go to the dashboard, the new dashboard, you can see the metrics in the form of graphs. It will take a few seconds to load. Yeah, you can see the graphs is coming. So here are some of the chaos memory hog. I think it's pod memory hog. This is okay. Now you can see all of the dashboard here. So this is the one of the new features we have integrated with the portal, the analytics. So Karthik, do you want to say something about the analytics?
Yes, thanks for bringing that up, Raj. One of the feedbacks we received from the community was, though there were litmus metrics and we could achieve interleaved dashboards on Grafana via chaos annotations, litmus chaos annotations, or you could also do it on other APM platforms. There was a need for these information to be available on the portal without the user having to shift to a different browser for getting these workflows. We got a lot of feedback saying it would be great if there's an integration to view these metrics within the portal, and that sort of led us to add this. So we are using a graph framework, which is basically not Grafana. We found a lot of platforms did that, but we felt it was a little heavy for the Litmus portal. So we went ahead with a different framework, which we are
Yes, Karthik.
polish. Thanks, Raj. It is Plotly based React framework. There are more dashboards that we plan to support off the shelf. You can see Kubernetes, that's basically showing information from the node exporter and kubestate metrics. There are efforts going on to push the dashboards related to standard applications within the portal that can be shipped within the portal. So if you have that application and if you have the exporter running in your cluster, you should be able to construct your own graphs. So that's something that we are working towards, and we hope that that will be useful for the users. Right now, what Raj showed were dashboards that you basically can provide a data source for and see, but you will also be able to construct your own panels and probably provide your own queries there. Prometheus is what will support off the shelf. So you can put your own PromQL queries and obtain those panels. That's in the works. You should see that in the subsequent beta releases. And yeah, I think hopefully that's going to be useful. We are looking forward to some more feedback on that.
Thanks, Karthik. This is all about analytics, and now moving towards our next features. So we have a workflow rerun feature. So this will do a rerun of the existing workflow. So it's just a single step. If you go to workflow and click here, sorry, schedules. If you go to drop down and click on rerun, So it will schedule the workflow. So immediately it will schedule the workflow using the existing manifest. So this is one of the feature of 2.beta. And Litmus CTL I already discussed. And so we have changed some UI, user interface. If if you had installed Litmus portal earlier, you can see the difference. We have changed the UI screen of teaming, and we have added few features like you can exit from the project, or you can decline the request of the uh, project. So these are two features we have integrated for teaming. And as Karthik already discussed, we are recreating the Litmus doc, which is basically focusing on the Litmus portal. Currently, we are still pushing the document here, so you can take a look, and it is having the installation and few other steps. And now we have a major directory restructuring for the Litmus portal server, where we have generalized all the files, and now it is easy to track all the functions of database. So these are the features of 2.beta. And any questions I can take.
Just to clarify, these are additional features that you could use, GitOps, or for that matter, the integrated analytics or monitoring. All this is something that you have on top of what's already working. So if you're used to running the portal a certain way, constructing your own workflows and running them, that should still work. So these are optional features that you can enable and use. So just wanted to set that context.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for that tour, Raj. The next item on the agenda is the updates for the 1.13.2 release. So let me go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Meanwhile, are there any questions that we can take or Raj can take around the features that you just saw? Okay, I'm assuming there are no questions. So talking about 1.13.2, mostly this contains enhancements and bug fixes on the backend, that is the operator and the Litmus Go experiments and the other microservices. You must all be aware about the Litmus probes. So these are the tools that Litmus uses. This is the tool that Litmus uses to do the hypothesis validation. So you can define constraints for a given experiment. What is the definition of steady state, and what are the differences or deviation from the steady state that you expect? You have different type of probes, HTTP probes to check the downstream service availability, or you can start running different kind of queries. We started supporting POST. You can do GET as well as POST. And for POST requests, you can specify the body within the probe schema, or if it is complex, you can actually create a file, a config map out of it, and then mount it into the experiment. Command probe, you can run some custom bash commands or your own CLI commands to get some status about your application and then compare with a predefined criteria. KTest probe does a lot of resource related checks, Kubernetes resource related checks. Prom probe is the most used one. You can run PromQL queries and compare the deviation in metrics. So all these probes run in different modes. You can run them during the experiment or before and after the chaos injection, or only during the chaos period, etc. So we did some enhancements to the comparator logic within command probe and Prometheus probe. These are the two probes where we actually parse values out and compare. So you actually have more operations. You can define substrings. You can do a contains operation, that is a one-off out of several values in a list. You can define metrics values within a range. and you can do this operation against different type of values, int, float, string, etc. So that's essentially trying to enhance the existing probe framework. We also I think started supporting this from the previous release. We have multiple deployments that can be annotated. So earlier we were restricting only one workload. When I say workload, I'm talking about deployment or stateful set or daemon set to be annotated when there are multiple such workloads with common labels, because we inherently had a very narrow blast radius, but we got requests from the community for supporting chaos on multiple high level workloads which share a unique label. So we went ahead and started supporting annotations for all of them. So that's one change. The disk fill experiment used to work only on those applications that had the ephemeral storage limits defined, but we have made it more generic. You can do this experiment even without ephemeral storage resources defined on your deployment, on your application spec. You can just provide the space that you want filled using the ephemeral storage, maybe by its environment variable, and that will eat up the space. And it can be on your container path, or it can be on your mount path that you mounted the external PV on. We have improved the health checks used in the AWS EC2 terminate experiment. The EC2 terminate experiment used to work only on simple VM instances, and there were some bugs associated with this experiment when the VMs that were killed were part of other node groups of a self-managed type, that is the clusters created using COPS, or if the node was part of an EKS cluster. You can actually do that now. There are different health checks for different kind of instances, depending on whether it is a part of a managed node group or not. There is an environment variable we can use to define whether this is so, whether it's part of a node group or no, and accordingly a different health check is going to be used, and it will go ahead and validate the experiment success. We're also supporting different type of termination signals for the containers. This was already supported for Docker runtime. Now we've extended that for Containerd and CRI-O runtimes as well. So there is termination signal environment variable again, where you can specify whether you want a SIG term or a SIG kill. These are the two supported signals that we support today. You can use that and inflict the right kind of chaos that you want in your environment. There was also, if you noticed in some of the earlier releases, I think around 1.12 time frame, we brought in the concept of non-root users in all the Litmus deployments, which included the experiment pods as well. So some of these experiments created helper pods that were brought up on the node where the target application resides, and these helper pods used to enter the network namespace of the target containers and inject some TC rules. And this was so for stress experiments as well, where you enter the process namespace and run some stress operations. So we used to use a root user there as the situation demanded it, but there were requests for us to move to non-root users on all deployments, including experiments and helpers. So that's when we decided to run some init containers to change the permissions on the socket files, the socket files that are on the var run docker.sock or the corresponding ones for Containerd and CRI-O. And we were changing that to globally usable permissions for the socket file, then mount it inside the helper pods and run the runtime APIs with a non-root user. But we were not reverting those permissions at the end of the experiment. So what we do now is, if you're using the native Litmus library, then you don't need to change the permissions in socket files. We've used a pseudo user, which is more or less equivalent as root, but it still does bypass some of your checks that you might have set up, security constraints that you might have set up. So this does not need you to change the permissions on the socket file for experiments that use the litmus lib. This is still needed for experiments that use a different lib like Pumbaa, where it's not possible to use a pseudo user right now. So that's one of the important changes that we made. This will make it more secure at least, and you will not have any and all users trying and manipulating your container services on your nodes. We also extended on-chaos mode of probe operation to all the native Litmus experiments. It used to support the continuous EOT and SOT and edge modes. Now it also support on-chaos mode. So in case you want to verify for some negative logic during your experiment runs, you can use on-chaos mode. We've also improved the probe schema for K-ATES probes. It basically is more of a restructuring of the schema more than anything else to make it more meaningful. One of the important fixes or enhancements that we made is to speed up the abort routines. So Litmus, as you know, supports abort or termination of the experiments upon a patch to the CR. But when you're running the experiments with scale, that is, you're running, let's say, network chaos on 100 replicas of your application or 100 replicas of different disparate applications at one shot. And when you do abort it, you want the chaos processes to be terminated on all those 100 replicas at once. So there were some challenges and there were some issues which were preventing that, mostly around the order of operations inside the abort routines. We were making some K-ATES API calls to generate events and update the result resource before we actually revert the chaos process, which we felt was a suboptimal way of doing it. So we've changed that to ensure that the chaos revert operation happens before the K-ATES API calls are made, so that there is less chance of throttling and operations is slowing down. So that has speeded up, and now you could abort at once, and you will be able to see the moment you patch the CR with an abort status, you will see all the chaos processes being killed immediately. That's an improvement, and we are extending that support for other experiments where abort is supported, such as the stress experiments. That's something that should be available in a patch, subsequent patch on 1.13. We also added some improvements to the HTTP probe schema. We have a response timeout that's defined inside the HTTP probe. So in case you are running the probe against a URL that's probably not in your lab environment, or it's something in a different zone or region, and it basically takes some more time to respond, then you could account for it within your probe schema. And we've also made some improvements in the way that you can provide application labels. This was a popular feature request from the community. We used to take a single application label in the spec.appinfo.app label in the Chaos Engine, but now we support all the possible patterns that kubectl takes. You must have seen the complex label definitions, selector definitions that kubectl supports, not in exists in a set of label values, etc. So we do support that for Chaos Engine. So you can be you can provide probably more, you can have more granular control over the way you filter applications for chaos. We've introduced new chaos category for Azure Cloud. We can kill the Azure VM instances. So this is available in tech preview mode. There are some more features we want to add to this experiment, some more native health checks for Azure Cloud before we release it as part of the standard releases. So it's available as a tech preview feature, which means that it's available in the image named Litmus Go Runner with Azure tag. It's not available in 1.13.2 tag. You could play around with it and give us some feedback, and we'll be happy to incorporate that, improve this experiment, and then bring it into the release stream. There have been a few more improvements on the project side. We've tried our hand at improving the unit test coverage on some of the components. We managed to improve it for Chaos Runner. A lot more needs to be done, and we added more E2E tests. There's a new pipeline for Litmus Portal, and we're trying to add more E2E tests there as well. E2E dashboard is something that's coming along. We plan to improve it and make it a standard reference for all the developers and users so that you can know the status of the nightly builds and accordingly pick in case you want the latest and greatest changes. There have been some important bug fixes, mostly around the abort. So we basically talked about that. There were a few issues there or bugs there which we've improved, which we fixed. There are also some improvements we've made in the way that you define your destination targets for the microservices against which you want latency and loss for network chaos. If you provided an invalid host name or something that you could not resolve to a valid IP, then we would go ahead and inject the network chaos against the egress chaos against the entire interface, and it would basically impact all the applications. Now we have identified some better methods of handling this. So if you have invalid hosts, then we are pointing out that via logs and not proceeding with the chaos. And if a subset of the hosts are valid and the others are invalid, we go ahead and inject chaos only with those valid hosts. There have been some improvements or fixes in the schema validation via OpenAPI schema checks on the CRDs, and some improved notifications in chaos results and events. I think the known issues continue to remain the same. We are using an exec model. That is, we are using the utilities on target containers for doing the memory hog and CPU hog in the Litmus lib. If you use the Pumbaa lib, you can do it via external containers. So this is something that we are working actively to address and should be available in a couple of releases from now. This was a very quick run through of the enhancements we have for the backend side, the actual experiment. Are there any questions around these changes or any issues that you're facing and want to be tracked in our upcoming releases? We'll be happy to discuss those changes. All right. Please feel free to ping us on Slack and let us know if you're facing issues. We'll be happy to address that. Very quickly, let me give you an update on what's happening with our incubation proposal. So we basically presented to the SIG app delivery. We come under the purview of that SIG, that we are growing as a project. We have more contributions coming in from different organizations. There have been more adoption stories. In fact, over this week, we added, I think over the last 2 weeks, we added Red Hat as one of our adopters. So that's a big win for us as a community. So there's the Red Hat adoption story you can actually take a look at. It's being used to test the OpenShift virtualization maturity of this particular feature, which is actually the commercial variant of the sandbox project called KubeVirt. And we've also presented to them about the improved metrics on the project and how we have been integrating with other ecosystem projects in CNCF landscape. We're using Argo workflows underneath the Chaos workflows. We have integrated with Keptn, which is another sandbox project, to provide a control plane Chaos microservice. You can now create Chaos stages as part of your CD pipeline and inject Chaos on the application that you're planning to promote to production, and do some quality gate and SLO checks as part of this process. So there have been some experiments that we're contributing to the CNF conformance suite as well. Udit has been at the forefront of these efforts. We are submitting the network experiments and disk related experiments to this test suite. And we did receive some positive feedback about our proposal, and we are in the process of filling up the due diligence documentation, and we are looking for sponsors in the technical oversight committee for picking up the due diligence process and conducting user interviews. And if you are using Litmus in some capacity, please feel free to add your adoption story so that we will be able to make a better case for the project with the TOC. And will be much appreciated if you can come up with any kind of feedback, or if you're willing to participate in the user interviews as to how you're using Litmus, how it has been helpful for you. Please do let us know. You can send me a DM, or you can just express your intent on the channel and we'll get in touch with you. So we are hopeful of the DD process going through, and this is generally a slow process. It's going to take some more time. We'll keep you all posted on what's happening here as we make more progress. That's all we had for this session of the Community Sync Up. I think we are 1 minute past. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for joining today and participating in the call. If there are any questions or any feedback, please let us know on the Slack channel. There is going to be the APAC version of the same meeting that happens on the 4th Tuesday. So if you feel that's a more comfortable time for you to join, let us know your willingness. We can send out the calendar invites accordingly. If you are interested in presenting about Litmus in any of, or if you plan to write a blog around it, or if you are planning to speak about your chaos scenarios, not necessarily just Litmus, but your chaos story you'd like to present, let us know. I think we'll add it as part of the agenda for the next meetup or the next sync up. With that, I think have a great day. Have a great rest of the week ahead. We'll sync up in the next call. Thank you.
Thanks, Karthik.
Thanks,
Bye.
Karthik.